call, please.
Mr. Appel, Dr. Armstrong, Mr. Birkin, Mr. Castile, Ms. Champagne, Dr. Clark,
Here.
Mr. Harris, Mr. Hollis, not present, Ms. Holloway, Ms. Mellarine, Mr. Morris, Ms. Boutin. We have a quorum.
Thank you. First item, please.
Your consent agenda is ready for approval, adding items 3.1, 5.1 through 513, and 6.10 through 6.12.
Thank you. May I get a motion? Mr. Harris. Second, Ms. Champagne. Any information to present?
Any objections?
Any objections? Hearing none, the motion passes. Next item, please.
The first item is on page 48, item 4.1, consideration of an update report regarding the Louisiana Public Interest Fellowship. The recommendation is to receive.
Can I get a motion? Ms. Mellorin. Second, Mr. Let me see who I want to pick. Mr. Preston Castile.
One comment here. The department for many years has engaged in honoring educators with this public interest fellowship when the department believes that they have a worthy body of work to highlight and potentially pilot and move forward. And so this year's recipient is our Teacher of the Year, Kylie Altier. And so we're happy to have Kylie continue the work with the agency through this reading-related fellowship, and we look forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you, Dr. Brumley. I'm Kelly Stomps with the Office of School System Relations. I have the privilege of managing the Public Interest Fellowship Program. This fellowship allows the recipient to spend the school year advocating for an education initiative of their choosing. In August, we introduced Kylie Altier, our 2024 Public Interest Fellow, to you. Today, she's going to give us an update on the status of her fellowship initiative. Kylie?
I promise not to cry during this, and I'm sorry for my tear-filled goodbye less than a month ago, and I'm back to talk to you guys again.
We've heard that promise before. We've heard that promise before.
I know, but I mean it this time because I get to talk about reading, which makes me just nothing but happy. So, the Public Interest Fellowship has been allowing me to focus on my reading project that really supports the parental involvement in terms of reading. So just to give you a quick background on my project, I actually did a small pilot of this with a smaller local grant in the past year and designed a website with a nightly reading routine that really is rooted in the science of reading and emphasizes the foundational reading skills necessary to build a reader. And it's the same model that I use in my classroom and also that I use to teach my 4-year-old daughter how to read. So the very first phase of the fellowship from when I got announced, I worked on relaunching the website in a newer, bigger way. So I was on a free Google site hosting platform, but now I am on a real website, and we rebuilt it, relaunched it to make it accessible with a bunch of accessibility features for adults to navigate with ease. There's things on the site now like an embedded question form so that people can ask questions and I can give continuous feedback. And one of the most popular new videos that I launched is actually like a model lesson of me teaching their child how to read. So I really want the heart of my reading routine to be rooted in the parent being the face their child sees, but I got a lot of feedback that they needed to know how to do that. So I wanted to give them an introductory lesson to allow parents to kind of see what it looks like when they're doing it successfully. Before the fellowship contract was finalized, I worked to really build partnerships to make the fellowship successful and maximize my reach of students, because I've never done a project to this scale before. It doesn't have to be just within my school. So in terms of partnering for materials, I knew I really wanted to get high quality decodable books in the hands of children. So I worked with Bob Books and a company called Charge Into Reading, who both gave me pretty substantial discounts that allowed me to up my numbers of students that I'd reach all the way to 1,000. So 1,000 families across Louisiana have these books in their hands now, in addition to resources that I've built that are inside the kit. And then I've also built partnerships with Volunteers in Public School, the Public Library, with Teach for America Greater Baton Rouge, the Academic Distinction Fund, Line for Line, Raising Cane's is giving us some free coupons, and I also submitted the project to another grant called Voya Unsung Heroes and received even more funding for the project. So we're all kind of working together across the community at large to try to reach as many students as we can. I also have had support from a lot of people at my district level. The EBR has just been amazing. They're really doing pretty exciting and innovative things in terms of parental involvement already. So it's been a really natural partnership, and they've just been so supportive. So Dr. Reese Penn has, the instructional data coordinator, has helped me submit like a research project. So we're going to be able to monitor the students' DIBELS scores as they go. Katasha Edwards is the chief academic officer, and she's just been like supporting me and a thought partner and helping me reach more schools. Dr. Joy Abernathy is our director of literacy, and she's helped me be plugged in with a lot of different literacy events around town and connecting me with people so I can meet more families. Our chief financial officer has really helped me with purchasing, and the director of community engagement has been helping me spread the word. And then using the fellowship funds, I was able to hire a team of teachers that are working on a stipend, and like here you see us putting together 1,000 kits, which took us so much longer than I ever could have anticipated, because 1,000 is a really big number. So they have been doing, all of the blood, sweat, and tears for this project. The next step, once we had the kits built, was to start enrolling families. So we have been reaching people through social media. I've been hosting pickup days where people can just come swing by and grab a kit. We've also been attending community events, like different literacy nights at different schools. We've been directly dropping off kits to schools that aren't in the EBR system, and also hosting in-person sessions. And in February, we'll be doing 6 different events across public libraries in Baton Rouge. As of December 13th, we had 564 families enrolled, but now we're up to about 850 families enrolled since this happened. And here you can just kind of see the spread of who we're reaching. The word is starting to spread out of places far away, so I'm trying to figure out the logistics of if you live in different cities, how you can get a reading kit as well. And the exciting thing is that we are having a lot of family engagement already started, and you can see our YouTube channel is up to 10,000 views, but I think even more than the views, I'm proud of the amount of time people are spending. So it's over like 300 hours of watch time. Like people are actually sitting down and watching this course and learning. And the people who have signed up for this are really just like, they want to help their children learn how to read, and that's been really exciting. And I'm already getting some great feedback from parents. Like this parent said, it's completely changed the way she's done ELA homework now. She's more patient because she understands like the foundations of what kids need to learn to read. So it's been really fun just engaging with parents and seeing how it's going with them. The next step is enroll 400 more families, but now it's 150, and we're going to be having, like I said, the other events around town, but I really want to focus on those 1,000 families being able to check in, have the personal touch, give continuous feedback. I am also creating a new course this morning. I was working on it all morning, so the current course is 20-minute nightly reading routine. This one is going to be the rules for reading and have 5-minute phonics. It's going to explain every phonics rule in the English language, and it's going to be kind of a course that you can take along with your child and kind of bridge that gap of like the knowledge that not everybody has in terms of English that children need to teach their kids how to read. And then at the end of the year, we're going to have a celebration for those families and collect the data and see how it went. I think that might be my last slide. So yeah, so I'm really excited with the progress we've made so far. I am so honored to be able to do this work through the Public Interest Fellowship, and I kept my promise of not crying.
Thank you, Kylie. That is actually exciting and wonderful. I do want to push a little bit on, again, including high schools, maybe using some of the suggested novels and texts from the Tier 1 curriculum that high schools can also participate in this. And maybe we can push on the department to help fund some of that usage of those novels. Because again, it goes back to the language acquisition, the reading, comprehending, and understanding that content. So also the data is included, Mr. Appel. So make sure that we have information. make sure it's working correctly.
Yes.
Any comments from the board? Accolades?
Before Kylie goes, just relative to the work that she's previously done with us, I just want to acknowledge, we had the teacher exit interview data on the consent agenda, so we didn't necessarily need to do a presentation, but I did want to point out a couple things from that information. One is we saw a 2% decrease in the number of teachers exiting the profession this last year. So that's really good to have a 2% decrease in teachers leaving the profession. That's really good. And the other thing that I wanted to point out is that we saw an increase for the first time in over a decade, I believe, in the amount of teachers coming out of universities, well, not just the amount of students graduating out of universities with a degree in education. So to put that in perspective, in 22-23, there were about 1,500 graduates for education, and in 22-23, there were 1,700. So that's the first time we've seen an uptick in that in over a decade. So I just want to call those out and do it while Kylie was at the table because you were instrumental in a lot of that work. So thank you.
I just want to state the obvious here. We appreciate you. We thank you, like you and so many other educators out there. We just appreciate your passion for your work and your commitment. So thank you. You're changing lives and you're making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Any objections? If not, the motion passes. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 119, item 6.1, consideration of executive session regarding discussion of the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of a person. The recommendation is to convene executive session.
Can I get a motion to go into executive session? Ms. Champagne and Ms. Holloway, seconds. Any public comment or board discussion on this matter before we take a roll call vote to go into executive session? No. In order for this motion to pass, 2/3 affirmative vote of members present is required. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Appel? Yes. Dr. Armstrong? Yes. Mr. Birkin? Yes. Mr. Castile? Yes. Ms. Champagne?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Harris? Yes. Mr. Hollis is not present. Ms. Holloway? Yes. Ms. Mellorine? Yes. Mr. Morris? Yes. Dr. Clark?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I will advise the audience at this time that we will be in executive session for the length of time necessary for our discussion. No votes will be taken while we are in executive session. All votes will be made in public. Additionally, public disclosure is not required of matters discussed in a properly held executive session. At this time, we will go into executive session and recess, and we should be out hopefully sooner than later. Thank you.
If you're here for a records review and you have not spoken with me, please come to the front.
Can I get a motion to reconvene the Educator Effectiveness Committee meeting and continue with our regular order of the agenda to vote on the items discussed in our executive session? Motion made by Ms. Holloway, second by Ms. Mellorine. Next item, please.
I recommend that we consider 6.2 to 6.9 in globo and accept those.
I have a substitute motion. I apologize.
No, you're
My substitute motion is as it relates to Ms. Marsha Hardy. There is some
We can't
discussion.
we can't.
You can't hear me?
That's not for these items.
Okay.
she's on this side.
All right. I'll wait.
Going back to the motion made by Dr. Armstrong. Is there a second?
She's not in this group.
Any objections? This motion passes. Mr. Castile?
All right.
Have a separate motion.
Okay. Now, as it relates to my motion, as it relates to the item on the agenda, as it relates to Ms. Marsha Hardy, there seems to be some confusion in the law and our policy, and the need maybe to update our policy to address the issue as it relates to this particular applicant. The way it's written, her license has already been revoked. There is some interest, I believe, and revisiting our policy as it relates to the issue. I'm not sure what that policy will be, nor do we know the correct interpretation of the law. There is still some uncertainty. What I'd like for us to do is reconsider this item and have it deferred for a later date and brought back after we received an opinion from our counsel through the Attorney General's office, and to allow us some time to revisit policy applicable to this particular situation.
And hearing what you're asking, my concern is, Mr. Castile, is I think that if we're going to do that, we need to look at the consideration of revocation for all of the ones listed, because we don't have all the information for the other ones. So to single out one person without having the knowledge of the other revocations is sort of an unfair process. In talking with some of the other members, we did discuss maybe considering looking at the policy for everybody so that it's fair across the board, and moving forward today with the revocations that we already did.
Yeah,
and
I'm happy
agreed
to
upon.
expand my motion to include all of those, with the understanding that we're going to quickly get an opinion and address an appropriate policy change.
So you're asking that we defer 5.1 through 5.13 on all of the revocations that we did today, that we already made a motion and approved?
Yes, I am.
Second.
Second by Ms. Holloway. Comments, concerns from other board members?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would just like to, I guess, add a sense of urgency to Mr. Castile's motion, and that we make sure we get this on the March calendar.
Agreed.
Any other board members? Any objections to this motion? The motion passes.
That concludes your
Next
agenda.
item, please. Thank you.
Sit will start in 5 minutes.